Welcome to TEC Talk Live, a resource produced by Vision Forward, low vision and blindness technology, tips, tricks, and information presented in a way that makes sense. And now, here are your hosts, Cory and Luke.
Welcome back to TEC Talk Live. It is live, and we are talking about tech again.
It's a very cleverly named show.
You know, we really thought about it before we gave it a name. Yes. Hope everybody is doing well today. It is, of course, March 31st, which means it's the end of March.
It's the last day of March,
Indeed,
which you'd kind of hope is like starting to knock on spring's door, but not today here in Milwaukee.
No, it's snowing. Oh, it was snowing at least.
Yeah,
anyway.
It came out to it was at least an inch out there, probably, if not more.
Yeah, very strange start to the day, but now the snow has stopped. And as you can see, we are floating above the clouds here.
Ooh,
yeah, so we're floating above the clouds, yes, because
usually
today...
our background does kind of give a hint of what's going to happen today.
And today we're talking about the weather, primarily for the next hour.
It's not what I prepared for.
Oh, well, we're going to be in big trouble then. I mean,
I do love, I could tell you, cumulus clouds? Strata something? What's that? Strata?
If anybody knows the type of clouds that we're floating above, please put it in the chat. But you did tell me, Cory, you said to me specifically, Luke, in this tech talk, we are going to be talking about the cloud. And so as far as I was concerned, we were going to be talking about the weather. Is that not correct? Is that not?
No, that's correctly. That is correct. I'm taking a meteorology class.
Oh, good.
And so I'm ready. We do have our green screen. So if you could bring up a map of the United States so I can point at some cold fronts and warm fronts, that'd be great.
That would be amazing. Okay, well, obviously we are talking rubbish here because we are actually going to be talking about Google Docs. And of course, Google Docs is a cloud-based service. And that's why we are going on about clouds here. We haven't gone insane, don't worry. There is a good reason for this. But thank you for joining us, everybody. We do appreciate it, as usual, and we're looking forward to be diving in here. Cory is going to be walking us through Google Docs. Now, Cory, tell us about your experience with Google Docs.
Well, my experience with Google Docs is that I know how to use it.
Good.
No. I'm not an everyday user of Google Docs. We're a Microsoft organization here.
Yes, we
are. But I have worked with a number of individuals who use Google Docs. I've dived into it, and I'm pretty familiar with it. But, as we always say on the show, we are definitely not experts. We want everybody to join in the conversation and add their 2 cents into the chat. Let us know tips and tricks that you might know about Google Docs. But what I can guarantee, let me give you a guarantee.
Okay.
At the end of this session, you will clap, because it'll be the end. No, I'm just kidding. At the end of this session, you will be ready to dive into Google Docs if you've never used it, create some of your own documents, save them, and do some even a little bit more higher level font changing and things like that as well. So this is going to be a good preparation if you've not yet tried Google Docs.
All right, so we have a promise, a guarantee, no less, from Cory here.
Stamp of guarantee.
And you have my permission. If he does not achieve this goal, you can write in with complaints.
Yes.
Yeah, please address them to cballard@vision-forward.org.
Yeah, and I use the delete key. No, I'm just kidding. We read all mail that comes in.
In the next session, we'll learn how to delete emails.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Cool. So, yes, everybody who's been here before, you will already know 2 things about Tech Talk Live. The first thing is that we enjoy telling terrible jokes.
Yes, that's
and
true.
So does our audience as well, by the looks of things, because we already have some in the chat.
Coming in already. I like it.
The second thing you might know about Tech Talk Live is that we do encourage participation in the chat or the Q&A. Please, any questions that you have, or jokes, or comments, or basically anything that's not rude can go
anything appropriate.
Anything appropriate can go in there, including as we start to move through using Google Docs. You can ask Cory to try and achieve certain tasks.
So this could backfire.
It could backfire horribly. But
remember what I said a little bit ago.
If you want to try and give Cory a challenge, then you can feel free to put it in the chat. Now, I'm not going to promise that he's going to be able to do it, but we can certainly check it out and try. So with that being said, I guess we'll read some of these jokes in the chat.
Get into our joke corner hour.
So joke number 1 comes from Kenneth here.
Okay.
Okay, Cory.
Yes.
Answer me this.
Got it.
What is the most musical part of a turkey? Maybe it's his voice. Could be.
Musical part.
Yeah. Plays piano.
Wing. I don't know. I don't have.
The drumstick.
I knew it was going to be a part of.
Yes, part of the turkey. Sound effects, please.
Oh yes. I know exactly which one this is. This is not a random pick, and here we go.
Hey, I will say I do take I have an objection.
Okay.
A drumstick by itself is not musical in the least.
Well, does it say what's the most musical? Or oh no, it didn't say musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
The other thing is, now I'm a drummer, so any other drummers out there, please don't take offense, but I'm not sure that I would classify the drums as a musical instrument.
Percussion?
It's a percussion. It's a beat-making tool.
You are also a piano player. This is something I learned recently, and maybe I'm maybe everyone else knows this.
Okay.
What category of instrument is a piano?
Strings, maybe?
See, that's what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
But because the hammer comes down and hits the string, it's actually categorized as a percussion instrument.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So I play 2 percussion instruments,
You are.
both of them badly. So if anybody needs any percussionists, then please don't call me. That's all I'm going to say about that. Paul. So that was from Kenneth. Sorry.
Good. Yeah.
Paula. Why did Spider-Man's evil twin brother fail his driving test? Why did Spider-Man's evil twin brother fail his driving test?
Ooh. It's the evil twin brother or web. Spider, blinker.
Evil twin brother.
Yeah.
What's Spider-Man's real identity?
Oh, Peter. But something about a Parker, bad Parker.
Yeah, you're very close.
Bad parallel Parker.
Yes, he was a terrible parallel Parker.
That's pretty good.
Sound effect, please.
Yes. All right, Paul. No, don't be upset.
Excellent jokes, people. Thank you very much. Now, I will also encourage people not to put the answers directly in the chat because it helps to build suspense if you only put them in the chat after the fact there. There's some clicking going on. You hear that?
Yep, I think it's
my microphone. Apologies about that, people. Okay, I also have a joke here.
Oh, you do? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. I'm going to read it from my phone.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm just finding it out now. But this is the joke. The sun. Oh no, I just gave it away.
Now, when you tell jokes, you actually start with the joke, not the punchline. But it's now you got to tell us.
Oh, this one. That was awful. This one's inappropriate.
Who is Parallel Parker? That's Spider-Man's evil twin brother.
Oh God, these are awful.
I think that.
Okay, here's one. We got.
Got it.
What okay, let's start this again. What sounds like a sneeze and is made out of leather? Sounds like a sneeze and is made out of leather.
It's gonna be somewhat sneaker. Snotter, sneeze.
Does anybody know what sounds like a sneeze and is made out of leather?
Yeah, I don't know. Belt.
Anybody know?
Yeah.
Hey!
We got an answer?
Of course. 2 people got it. Holy cow. The answer is a shoe.
Oh, jeez.
And thank you, Lynn and... come on.
I knew exactly.
Thank you, Lynn and Douglas, for your correct answers there.
Very good.
We do have one more. Anybody who doesn't like jokes, I apologize, but we happen to enjoy them.
Hey,
so, let's get this last one in here from Bruce. Why do pirates take so long to learn the alphabet?
Oh, because R.
No.
Too many R's or something?
No. Why? No, Lynn guessed it the same. They get stuck on R. Yeah. Now, actually, I think that is a perfectly valid answer, but it's not the one that we have from Bruce. Anybody else? No. Why do pirates take so long to learn the alphabet?
Why is that?
Because they are stuck at sea so long.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for those mostly terrible jokes.
Yes, thank you.
We enjoyed them thoroughly.
Thank you is exactly what I was thinking.
Now, we do have two questions in the question and answer from Dan here as well. And these ones are actually questions related to the topic, so we have moved past our jokes.
Good. Thank you, Dan. Very
thank you,
much.
Dan, for saving us that. So Dan asked us two questions. Number one, is there an ideal combination of operating system, browser, and screen reader that works best with Google Docs?
Great question.
Yes.
And I just realized now my computer's not talking anymore. I'll come back to that. We'll figure it out quick. So typically, they do recommend, at this point, I don't know that there's really a best combination. I mean, part of it's going to be obviously what platform are you already on? Are you a Windows user? Are you a Mac user? So you're fine either way. If you're a Windows user, which I think a lot of our listeners probably are, and I am, so that's going to be a little bit more of my experience. I've had no problems using Google Docs or really any of the Google suite of programs with JAWS with Chrome, JAWS with Firefox, or NVDA with Chrome, NVDA with Firefox. They do recommend Chrome and Firefox as the two browsers that work the best with Google Docs, and JAWS and NVDA is really the best two screen readers that work with it as well.
And of course, Google Docs is surprisingly made by Google, and Google Chrome is surprisingly also made by Google. So it seems to me like using Chrome definitely would be a good thing to do.
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense. Now, Dan also asked whether the info that we're going to be talking about regarding Google Docs is going to be applicable to Sheets. Now, originally, we were going to be talking about Sheets in this session as well, but we decided not to just because, honestly, we don't have a ton of experience with Sheets and we didn't have time to play around with it too much before the show today. So we decided to concentrate on Docs instead. However, some of the stuff in terms of text formatting and things like that will be applicable to Sheets, just in the same way that if you learn some of the text formatting skills in Microsoft Word, you can apply those to Excel as well. So some of that stuff is going to be transferable. But other things are obviously going to be unique to Sheets as well. Now, hopefully at some point in the future, we will do a screen reader with Sheets, and that way you will have some kind of information about that too. But for the moment, we're just going to be concentrating on Docs. So let me tell people who aren't aware a little bit about Google Docs. The idea behind Google Docs is that you will have a word processing program available to you, which you don't have to pay for. So it's going to be free. Now, you do have to, I believe, have an account with Google. But other than that, the service is free. And the nice thing about it is that it's cloud-based. So this means that in order to access Google Docs, for the most part anyway, you will need to be online. And I think they may have an offline version as well. But the whole power behind Google Docs is that it is on the internet. And this means a couple of things. Number one, it means that we can access it from any computer and make changes. And number two, it means that those changes can easily be, or those documents can easily be shared with other people as well, and they can also access them and edit them too. So it really is quite powerful in that regard. It's pretty much laid out as you would imagine, like a regular word processing software. So if you are used to using other word processing softwares, then Google Docs is going to be pretty familiar. But one of the downsides of it being web-based is some of the stuff is a little more complicated, including actually one thing which you would think would be easy, which would just be kind of, maybe navigating line by line with the arrow keys. If you just try to go to Google Docs with your screen reader and try to navigate a document, you're probably going to find it doesn't actually work because you have to enable screen reader support before it will start to act more like a regular kind of, for example, a Word document. So there are some complications with it being web-based. However, there's a lot of power there as well. It will auto-save, so it's basically impossible to make changes to a document without saving, which is nice for those who are a little bit more on the forgetful side. And like I say, you can log in from any computer, so as long as you know how to get to your web browser, then you can go ahead and go to docs.google.com. And if you are signed into your account, then you're going to go ahead and see all of the documents that you've created, and you'll be able to access and edit those, and so on and so forth. This type of thing tends to be tends to be used by schools quite a lot as well. Yeah, so in general, the Google Chrome stuff or the Google stuff tends to be used by schools quite a lot, but it is really great for anybody. And I mean, you know, yeah, you could use other third-party softwares, and there's even free ones as well. Like, is the LibreOffice suite is free? I think,
yeah,
right?
OpenOffice and
yeah.
Libre, and I don't,
Yeah.
I have not. I haven't tried it in a while. There was definitely some accessibility issues. It was sort of usable, but not to the extent that you can now use Google Docs or, you know, Office 365 or Microsoft 365 as it's been renamed now.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because yeah, so Microsoft Office does have a similar kind of thing going on now, a cloud-based service, Office 365, but you do have to pay for that.
Correct.
And this one is free. So if you do want to write documents, create spreadsheets,
collaboration.
Collaboration. Make you know, slides and stuff for presentations and all of that stuff. You know, the Google suite of productivity software is definitely worth checking out for sure.
I fixed it. We're back.
Hey, all right. So now we have screen reader output. So we're going to be basically switching over to Cory's computer, and Cory's going to be showing us how to do some of this stuff. So Cory, if you would like to go ahead and do that.
So I'm going to just do a quick screen share here.
You have started screen share. Desktop. Windows M. Desktop.
Now I realized I forgot to turn off Zoom chat. So unfortunately, please still put your chats in, but you may hear my JAWS read it automatically. I forgot to go in and tell Zoom to not speak it out loud, but that's okay. Not a huge deal. So as Luke was giving a good introduction to Google Docs, as he mentioned, it's a great online platform for your word processing. And we are going to focus really specifically
From Vision Forward to everyone.
Google Docs
Nice.
today.
That was me.
That's okay. We're going to focus primarily on Google Docs today, although a lot of the concepts we talk about will carry over to the other suite of programs, especially coming in, looking at the menus and enabling support and things like that. So some of this will carry over. If there is a need and people really are interested more in learning about sheets and slides, let us know. We can definitely do that as a future session. So as we mentioned, Google Docs is basically a word processor that allows you to work online and collaborate with others. And when we say collaborate, we're really talking about real-time collaboration. So you're able to create a document, share it out to somebody else, then they can open up that Google Doc and you can work together on that same document and track changes and watch them as they're editing the document, all accessible with screen readers. In this demonstration today, we are using JAWS, but there's not really significant difference with the access between JAWS and NVDA. JAWS, I think, kind of has one specific keyboard command to access the toolbar that we'll talk about in a moment. But then I'll also show you, I'll let you know what the workaround or the equivalent for NVDA is. Now, before we can really start to use Google Docs, we do need to enable screen reader support within the Google Docs platform. And there's really two accessibility changes that we want to make. We want to enable screen reader support, but we also want to enable Braille support. Now, this one took me just a bit years ago to figure out. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get Docs to work correctly, why JAWS just wasn't reading things correctly. In some cases, wasn't reading at all. And I just went around and round and round in circles and finally discovered that you do need to enable Braille support, even if you're not using a Braille display. There must be something going on with the Braille support that provides a better level of support for the screen reader as well. So even if you're not using a Braille display and you don't plan to use a Braille display, make sure you enable both screen reader and Braille support to get the best results. Now, let's take a look at how to do that. So before we do that, we obviously need to bring up our Google Docs. So we're just going to go to
Windows
Chrome
M,
here.
Google Chrome, enter. New tab, Google, Windows.
We're going to go to docs, docs.google.com.
Google Docs. Com. Enter. Customize Chrome button. Blank.
It's going to take your LinkedIn document.
In focus sample Google Docs. Document content. Off. Document content edit.
Deal. We'll come back and look at the main Docs
Braille
window
support enabled.
just in a
Braille
moment.
support enabled on page 1.
But we actually just heard my screen reader and Braille support is on, and that's good. I've already had it turned on. So if you don't have it turned on, let's take a look at how we can do that. Now, the screen reader support does have a keyboard shortcut, Alt-Control-Z, to enable in order to enable and disable screen reader support. So let's try it. Now, usually it's pretty smart and tells us if it's disabled or enabled, but you never know. Computers never do exactly what you want. So let's give it a whirl here. Control-Alt-Z.
Alt-Control-Z. Screen reader support disabled.
Good. We did hear it say disabled. We'll re-enable that again with Control-Alt-Z.
Alt-Control-Z. Braille support enabled.
Now, in this case, it's saying Braille support enabled, which is good, but by default, the first time you come in, if you've not ever set these accessibility options, then you need to go in and manually enable Braille support. There is not a keyboard shortcut that I'm aware of to enable Braille support. So instead, we do need to go into our Tools menu to Accessibility, and then we can enable both screen reader support if we didn't use that keyboard shortcut, and Braille support. Which leads us to kind of our next thing here. How do we access our menus? Now, you may be familiar with other programs where you would use your Alt key to bring down your menus or pop you up to the menu bar. That doesn't work in Google Docs because typically what that's going to do is take you to the menu of the browser that you're in. So if I hit Alt when I'm here in Google Chrome, it's actually going to take me to the Chrome menu versus going to the menu bar of Google of Docs here for me. Same if you were in Firefox. So you may be familiar, though, with other programs where you can do Alt followed by a letter to go directly to a menu. Alt F for File, Alt I for Insert, Alt T for Tools, and so forth. And so that's how we access our menus here in Google Docs. If I do an Alt F, it should take us to our File menu.
Alt F, Document Read-Only Application Control, Menu, File, 1 of 9.
Here we go, and it tells us we have 5 menus. Now, sometimes you may do an Alt F, and it does not take you to the File menu. It takes you again to your main menu of your browser. I haven't seen this in a while, but it still can happen. If that happens, if Alt F doesn't work, then add the Shift key, Alt Shift F, and that will for sure get you to the menu of the Docs screen. So we're in our File menu. We've opened up our menus. We're going to use our right arrow to move over to Tools.
Edit, 2 of View, 3,
my right
Insert,
arrow.
Format, Tools,
There we
6
go.
of 9.
Now we'll use our down arrow and find Accessibility, although I believe you can also hit
Spelling
C.
and Grammar S Black, Word Count Tab, Reviews, New Compare Doc, Citation, Explore Arc, Link Tab, Dictionary D, Translate Doc, Voice Typing V, Script Editor, Preferences P, Accessibility Settings C.
There you go, accessibility settings. And we did also hear that JAWS repeated the letter, or said the word letter C at the end. So you may be familiar with that in other programs where menu options give you the menu shortcut key at the end of the menu. So again, we could have did an Alt-T to go right to the Tools menu and then hit C for accessibility settings. That would have got us to the same place.
Leaving menus. Accessibility settings. Turn on screen reader support. Turn on screen reader support required for Braille support and collaborator announcements. Learn more about screen reader support. Turn on Braille support. Turn on Braille support works with third-party Braille hardware. Turn on
I'm going to stop it. Now we're in a dialog box here, accessibility settings dialog box. We can use standard screen reader dialog navigation keys to move around this document, this dialog box. First, if I want to know what control I'm on, I should be able to do my insert tab to have JAWS tell me which control I'm sitting on.
Accessibility settings heading level 2 application control.
All right, so let's do our tab.
Accessibility settings. Turn on screen reader support. Turn on screen reader support required for Braille support and collaborator announcements. Learn more about screen reader support. Turn on Braille support.
All right, so we
learn more about screen reader. Turn on screen.
There we go. So here's a checkbox that we can turn on screen reader support using our space bar if we want to. We're going to keep it on though, so we'll keep tabbing.
Learn more about screen reader support link.
We can learn more, but we don't need to.
List with 2 items. Turn on Braille support checkbox checked.
There's that Braille display there, that Braille turn on. So we want to make sure we check that as well to ensure that we get the best results.
Turn on collaborator announcements checkbox checked.
And you may also want to check that collaboration announcements. As we mentioned previously,
Front
Google
reception,
Docs
new
is
voicemail.
great for doing collaboration. As long as you have those collaboration announcements, then you will your screen reader will announce changes as the person you're collaborating with is making them. So that's where we can go to turn on those couple settings that we want to for specifically for a screen reader.
Escape. Frame. Document.
All right. So we are now in a Google Doc here. We're just going to start with this Google Doc first. I'll look at how to open a document both from here when you have one document open, if you want to move to another one. And then I'll also show you the Google, kind of the main Google Docs screen, which is really a kind of a Google Drive screen. And that's one thing I want to mention. We talked about Google Docs as a cloud-based service. All your documents are stored in the cloud, and basically they're all stored in Google Drive. So if you're familiar with Google Drive, it is a cloud-based file storage. And so all of the files that you create and save are all stored in Google Drive for you. So we've got a document open here, and we can just use our basic text navigation skills to keyboard commands to move around this document. We can use up and down arrow to move line by line. So down arrow will take us to the next line.
Blank. Name, Cory Ballard. Email, linkballard@visionforward.org. Phone.
And we can see that it's just reading it to us. Up arrow obviously takes us to the
Email,
previous
link
line.
Ballard at name, Cory Ballard, blank. Vision Forward Association.
So we can use right and left arrow to move letter by letter.
I-S-I-O-N.
Or we can use control
November.
right and left arrow to move word by word.
Forward Association, blank. Tab, blank. Name, colon.
We can also use control home and control N to quickly jump to the beginning and end of our document.
Blank.
I just jumped down to the very end with a control N. As you can see, I can't go down any farther, but if I come up,
Settings.
there's our last line here.
Technology designed for use at home.
Control home will quickly jump us up to the top of the document.
Vision Forward Association.
There we go.
But it's a bit of a shame it doesn't announce that you're at the beginning or the end of the document.
Yeah, I do like, JAWS does a great job in Word. It'll say top of file,
Yeah.
bottom of file, or end of file, which is nice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
These are one of those cases, I think, where you just got to, I hate to say it, but you got to trust your screen reader that it's going to do it. So reading a document is exactly the same way as you would read any document in Microsoft Word or an email or even a website. Just our basic text navigation keys are going to work just fine for doing all of our navigation throughout this document. All right. So now that we can kind of move around, we can also make some edits and things as well. So as we noticed in this document here, I have my name and I have my phone or email, but my phone number and address weren't filled out. So let's show how we can quickly do this. And I'm actually going to really do it the exact same way that I would have done it if I was in Microsoft Word. There's really no difference.
Linda Hall.
I'm going to down arrow
Blank.
to where I want to fill in.
Name, Cory. Email, link. Phone.
There we go. So I'm going to tap my end key just to move to the end of this line really quickly so I can put in my phone.
Blank.
Now, sometimes I get in the habit, I like to just use my left arrow, find where that colon is.
Colon.
Okay, good. Now I know I'm in
Blank.
the right spot.
Space.
Put a little space in between there.
Num lock on.
And now let's just type in, oops.
6 400 6 0124.
We'll just
Num
put
lock
in
on.
our phone number here. We'll come down to the next line.
Address.
And we'll do end again. I always come over just to make sure that
Colon.
colon's where it's supposed
Blank.
to be.
Space.
Good. Now we'll put in our address.
Num lock on. Num lock on. 9 space. N. Holly.
Now I have
Road. Space.
JAWS only speaking words. That's the text keyboard echo I prefer. Now I can change that if I do an insert 2 or my JAWS modifier 2.
Both characters and words.
I'll change it here to both characters and words. Now I forgot what I put in here.
Comma. Blank. Comma. Road.
I have
Comma.
road,
Blank.
okay.
Comma.
Let's put in
Space.
Milwaukee.
M-I-L-W-A-U-K-E. Milwaukee. Space.
And now you can hear
W-I.
that my JAWS keyboard echo is doing exactly what I
W-I.
wanted to, doing both characters and words.
Space.
Oops.
Blank. Blank.
Yeah,
Space.
num lock
Space. I. Space. Space. Num lock on. 5 3 2 1 3 5 3 2
There we go.
blank.
All right. So as you can see, we're just using basic basic word processing concepts and keyboard commands to move around Google Docs. If you're comfortable in Microsoft Word, or you've done some work like even in WordPad or Notepad, then working in Google Docs isn't really much different at all.
Nope, not at all different. And that's going to also carry over to some of those other shortcuts that you might be familiar with for formatting text in certain ways, particularly when we're talking about things like making it bold, italicized, underlining it, centering text, justifying it to the right or to the left, so on and so forth. So Cory, your challenge number 1 for today.
Hit me.
And as I say, if anybody has any challenges, please feel free to put them in the chat.
Okay.
Challenge number 1 today. We're going to start you off nice and easy here.
Good. Okay.
What we're going to do, we would like to find the title, which is Vision Forward Association, and we would like to go ahead and center and bold and underline. And if you could describe how you're doing it as you go, that would be wonderful.
So there's a couple ways that we can do this. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous here.
You're going to be fine.
But honestly, there are multiple ways we can do this. So I'm actually going to show you a couple different ways of doing this. First and foremost, we got to move up to the line that we want to change or manipulate. Now, I know it's at the top, so I'm just going to do a Control Home to be lazy.
Vision Forward Associate.
And I know you should be on the V. Let's verify.
Numlock on.
I'm going to use my JAWS key. I use a numpad here.
From the R. Douglas Utility.
I can just hit my 5 key,
V.
and it tells me what character I'm on. So good. I'm on V of Vision Forward.
From Bruce Howell to
All right. So now the first step is selecting the text. You need to tell Google Docs what text you want to change. And we're going to do this the same way we do with any other program on a Windows computer. And that's just using those text navigation keys we talked about just a moment ago. But we're going to add the Shift key, which is our select key. So obviously, we've got a couple different ways we could do it. We could do Shift right arrow and go letter by letter by letter by letter and go through the whole thing. We could do Shift Control right arrow and select Vision, then Forward, and then Association. Or because I'm lazy and I'm the big fan of the least amount of key presses as possible, we're going to select this entire line because there's nothing else on this line except Vision Forward Association. So we're going to do a Shift down arrow.
Vision Forward Association.
And it is now selected the whole thing. Although it didn't say selected.
Didn't say selected, bit of a shame.
Which is weird because usually it does.
Yeah.
Let me try something real quick.
Vision Forward Association.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it's not doing it right now. Okay. That's weird. I swear I did it before.
So again, you're going to have to trust your screen reader.
That it's selecting it. All right, so our text is selected. So now let's do let's do this all via keyboard shortcuts right off the bat, okay? So first, but obviously this would require you to have these keyboard commands memorized. But we're going to show you a way to do it if you don't. So bold, you said, right?
Yes, please. Bold, centered, and underlined.
Control B for bold.
Control B. Bold applied to selection.
All right. So it told me bold is applied to my selection.
That was nice.
Control U for underline.
Control U. Underline applied to selection.
Boom. And Control E for center. I hope that works. This one I'm not sure about.
Let's find out.
Let's give it a whirl.
Control E. Type search term search. 1 of 7. Toolbar. Address and search bar edit. A. Control plus L. Escape. HTT. HTT removes escape. HTT removes suggestion. HTT escape. Frame. Dot.
Oh, come on.
Toolbar. Frame.
Hold on.
Off.
There we go. No, come on.
Menu bar. Frame.
Come on, where'd you go?
On. In focus, rename. Edit in focus. Move document status. Save to drive.
Actually, you know what? I want to walk people through this because this is a good troubleshooting thing.
From Melanie Baum.
So one thing I didn't mention, and this is a good time to mention.
From Melanie Baum.
When you're working in Chrome, JAWS is typically using the virtual PC cursor. Now, as a real quick side note, for those that don't know, there's really 3 main cursors when you use JAWS. There's the PC cursor, the virtual PC cursor, and the JAWS cursor. The PC cursor is basically just your system cursor. As you move around a Word document, the little flashing line, you're moving that around with your arrow keys, and that's your system or your insertion point, and JAWS will just follow and read that. But when we came to the internet, there is no cursor in the internet. So in order for JAWS to access, or in order for people who are using the screen reader to access web pages, they invented the virtual PC cursor so that you could move around as if there was an actual PC or system cursor. And the reason I tell you that is because when you use Google Docs, by default and automatically, typically JAWS will disable the virtual PC cursor and put you into the PC cursor and allow you to move around the document. And that works great. But what happened here was I did a keyboard command that was center in, in Word, but not in Google Docs. And Control-E ended up taking me out of the, it actually jumped me up to the address bar if I noticed it correctly. Yep. And now I got myself out of the document, and now I can't just get back into it super easy. So what I had to do is I had to turn virtual PC cursor back on so that I could actually kind of move around this web page, this Google Docs page, as if it was a web page, because I'm trying to kind of find that edit field of where the Google Doc was. So Insert Z will turn on and off your virtual PC cursor. So if I do Insert Z,
off,
you see it's off now. And as I arrow, JAWS is saying nothing. It's not allowing me to read through this page at all. If I do an Insert Z again,
on,
now it's back on.
In focus sample, link docs
and now
home.
I can move around as if this page was a standard web page, which it kind of is.
In focus sample.
So I had to turn it on so that I could now kind of find that edit box, or at least that's what I'm going to attempt to do.
All right.
E is the JAWS command, or the screen reader command, to find edit boxes. So let's just try an E once.
Rename edit. In
All
focus
right.
sample.
So there's our edit box, but that's not the one we're looking for because that's the name of the document. Let's try E again.
Document content edit. Contains text.
There's the document. So now I'm going to hit enter to
Enter.
go back
Frame.
in there.
Document content.
And now I'm going to make sure I turn off virtual PC cursor again, though.
Off.
There we go. Now as I arrow,
Vision forward association.
you can
Blank.
see I'm back inside of my
Blank.
That was
document.
some pro-level JAWS.
Well-
So even though we didn't manage to center yet, we did also learn a lot more.
And I,
about,
honestly,
using JAWS.
it's funny. I was watching some webinars not last evening about Google Docs preparing for today.
Definitely
But
not last night.
it was very interesting because the one that I was watching was by Vespero, Freedom Scientific, and they had one of the exact same problems. And I find it very interesting that as screen reader users, we can teach you how to do everything in Google Docs. This is how you do it. But this is a prime example of some of the challenges you face as a screen reader user when you hit the wrong key, or not even hit the wrong key. Sometimes the screen reader just does something it's not supposed to. And then you've got to sit there and troubleshoot and figure out.
And that's actually the biggest skill of learning to use a screen reader, is learning how to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Because you need to get yourself out of situations.
Which is why I wanted to take the time to show the way my brain works. And okay, here's my problem. How am I now going to fix it?
Okay, now, Cory, I do want to tell you something here.
Yeah.
So early on, you had referenced the fact that sometimes Alt-F, or at least in the past, didn't take you to the file menu.
Yeah.
You had to do an Alt-Shift-F.
Yeah.
Luckily, one of our excellent watchers / listeners has told us that the same is the case here for centering. We need a Control-Shift-E.
From DR Douglas usually to everyone.
Control-E.
So Control-Shift-C, or E.
Douglas, you're asking us to use phonetic alphabet with keystrokes, but there's
I can do that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll try my best. Okay. So in here,
Vision forward.
So we've got it. Well, you know what? Let's take a moment here.
Okay.
You told us to bold it and center it and underline it.
Yes.
But we got bold and underline correct, and then everything went haywire.
Yes.
Now the question is, though, did the bold and underline actually take? So let's quickly look at how we can tell JAWS to, or tell your screen reader, hey, I want you to tell me the font attributes here. Okay. So we're going to do that with
blank. Vision forward.
Insert F as in Frank. What is the phonetic for F?
Frank is good enough.
Is it for,
why not? Why not?
Foxtrot. There you go. I want to be military here. All right, so we're going to do insert Foxtrot, insert F here, and it will tell us what font attributes.
Bold underline Arial 16 point. Paragraph formatting left justified.
Perfect. So we heard bold. Now it gives you a lot really quickly there. So sometimes you may want to do it again, but I did hear bold and underline.
Bold underline Arial 16 point.
Perfect.
Paragraph format.
Bold, Arial, underline, 16 point, paragraph spacing, whatever it was.
Yes.
So good. We know bold and underline is done. We have to select vision forward again. Let's just make sure we're on
Blank.
the V
Vision
here.
forward V.
There it is.
Vision forward
selected.
association.
And now we'll do a control
Shift E
shift.
and keep your fingers
E
crossed.
as an echo.
Control Shift E. Center alignment applied.
There you go, center alignment. Okay, so
Hey.
let's double check though,
Blank.
because we, should never trust our screen reader all
Vision
that
forward.
much. We'll do our insert F or Foxtrot again.
Bold underline Arial 16 point. Paragraph formatting centered.
There we go. Now it's saying paragraph centered rather than left.
Now here's my
justified.
question.
Yes, sir.
So in Microsoft Word,
Yes.
a Control L will justify us to the left,
Yes.
and a Control R will justify us to the right.
Correct.
My question is the following: if we select this, do we have to add a shift to those as well?
I'm going to guess so. Now, just as a side note in Word, do you know that you can use Control E to do all three, and it'll just cycle through center, left, right, center, left,
My
right.
mind has just been blown.
Anyways,
Blank.
let's try once. So
Vision forward
let's
association.
do a left justified. I
Let's,
would
just Let's do the phonetic
assume
here. So
that it would be Control
Shift and Lima, right?
Lima.
Yes.
Control Shift L. Left alignment applied.
Oh my gosh! I was. Now let's try it again.
Success.
Control Shift Romeo R.
Control Shift R. Right alignment applied.
Hey.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so all we had to do there was
Control
add a
Shift E.
shift
Center
to
align.
our normal alignment.
Thank you. Was that
shortcuts.
Michelle that said?
It was Melanie. Sorry,
Melanie, thank
yes.
you.
But
Thank you. That's
all we had to do
perfect.
was add the shift. But if you didn't know that, then you could end
Good.
up in the same situation
Well,
that Cory was in.
That's where I wanted to tell you. When we started this, I said, well, if this method would you would have to actually know all the keyboard
Correct.
commands. So
Correct.
let's take away
Name. Blank.
all
Vision
of
forward
the things
association.
you just did.
Association. Home.
So let's select
Vision forward
and we're
association.
going to get rid of bold with a Control
Control B. Bold removed from selection.
Control U to get
Control
rid
U.
of underline.
Underline
so you
remo-
can see it's just a toggle. Doing it once, we'll turn it on. Doing it again, if it's already on, we'll turn it off. Let's left justify this with a Control Shift Lima.
Control Shift L. Left
All
alignment
right, so
applied.
now we're back to where we were before, and now we're going to perform the same task again. Now we're going to try it. I'm gonna introduce something new here, and I'm going to try to blow your mind.
Okay.
Luke and I are huge fans of the secret Microsoft Office command Alt-Q to allow you to search the ribbons so that you're not moving around the ribbons. Docs has a similar, same type of command. If I do an Alt / so when I say / I'm speaking in the slash that's down next to your right shift key. So the key that is directly to the left of your right shift key, your / we're going to hold down Alt and hit slash.
Alt / in focus sample Google Docs. Menu. Search the menus Alt plus
And now
slash.
we've got to search the menus, and now I can search for a command that I want. So we're going to do bold.
Bold Control plus B not checked.
And we
Bold
hear
Control
that it
plus B.
says bold Control B not checked. So if I hit enter,
Enter. Leaving menus. Frame. Document
Amazing.
content edit. Bold applied to select.
bold has now been applied.
So as long as you know the name of the thing that you're trying to do, you don't really have to remember anything except the shortcut to get into.
Let's try. Let's see if we can do all three though.
No,
Let's try
fair enough,
Alt
fair
slash.
Alt / Document
We'll
reader.
do underline.
Underline Control plus U not checked.
There it
Under
is.
enter.
Enter.
Leaving menus. Frame.
Center?
Document content
That's
edit.
what we're gonna
Underline.
try. Alt
Alt
slash.
/ Document reader.
Center.
Center align text Control plus Shift
There
Enter.
it is,
Leaving
baby.
menus.
Yeah.
Frame.
So we were
Document.
able to do all three using the Alt / the Alt /
Okay, now I have
command.
a question here because Bruce was asking us if we could show how to add headings. Now, I was going to ask you to make this a heading level 1 because obviously it is, should be the heading level 1 of our document.
Okay.
One way I was thinking we could do it is in the format menu,
Yes.
which would obviously be an Alt F for Foxtrot to get to our format menu.
Well, that'll take us to our file menu.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
So
believe format's Alt O, or we might have to squeeze.
Okay. Either way, we
Yeah.
could do an Alt
Yep.
F and arrow across to the format. Either way. So I was thinking it's probably in there, but
Should we
I
calculate it, or do we want to do
well,
the?
first of all, let's try doing our
You want to do the Alt
cheats.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we still have it now. In order to create headings, anytime you're manipulating or changing text, you want to make sure it's always selected first, and ours is still selected. So we'll do our Alt /
Alt / Document
Again,
read.
that's Alt / I'm going to type in the heading.
Yes.
Docs help. Insert or move. Apply heading 1 Control plus Alt plus
There
1
it
not
is now.
checked.
I love it.
But
Yes.
what happens if you told me you wanted heading 2?
I suggest you use your down arrow key. Sir.
I would say the same thing. So let's come down.
Update heading 1 to match.
No.
Apply heading 2 Control plus
There's-
Alt plus 2 not checked.
And not only do we find it, but we also get the keyboard equivalent so that we can go in and start to memorize those
Excellent
as well.
way to remember
Enter.
shortcuts.
Leaving menus. Frame.
Really is.
Document content edit.
Now,
Heading
as we arrow through,
blank. Heading level 2 vision forward association.
you see that that the screen reader now moves.
I
Now,
do take objection to you making that a heading level 2, I have to say.
now, here's this
Blank.
Now, let's see. I might be wrong on this. Let me see if I get this right. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I know it.
Control H.
No,
Document
that's not-
read-only application control.
I didn't
Find
mean to
and
do
replace
that.
dial. Escape. Frame.
There is so
Blank.
The
Frame.
question
Heading
might
level
now
2
be
vision
is,
blank.
I can't navigate by heading because H will type in an H, and now I can't remember for the life of me. There is a modifier key. It's not Control H, and I don't think it's Alt H. Is it?
Alt H. Document read-only application control.
That's a help
Menu.
menu.
Yeah,
Help.
that's the
Escape.
menu.
Leaving
Darn it,
menu.
I can't think of it now. Maybe somebody in the chat can throw it in if they know. I'll have to look it up because I can't remember off the top of my head. But you can still there is a way to jump around by those elements
by
headings
heading.
and such.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Name.
Okay,
Cory.
Cory,
Blank.
next test.
Heading level 2 vision
Okay.
blank.
I think that you're a poor speller, frankly, sir.
I am a pretty bad speller.
And I
That's
think
actually
this-
very true.
This document is likely to be filled with typos.
Okay.
Absolutely to the brim.
Mhm.
So we're going to have to do a spell check.
Okay.
So please enlighten us. How can we do a spell check?
Sure. So obviously we've just spent a bunch of time using that Alt// key command. So there's a very good chance that we could just type spell in there and it would work. But let's look at an alternative way because there's a couple other ways we can do it. One thing that we didn't talk about yet is the toolbar on Google Docs. Visually, I'm guessing, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yep.
But visually, I'm guessing there is a toolbar where there's a number of different options available, from spell check to rename to bold to italic and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've had some issues in the past here getting JAWS to do this correctly sometimes. So let's first see if the JAWS command works. Insert F8, insert function 8 should take us up to the toolbar.
Toolbar buttons dialog.
Plus,
List 1
hey.
list view. Undo Control plus Z button.
Now
One.
I can simply use my up and down arrow keys to move through all of the different toolbar options in here, hitting enter on the one I want.
Redo Control plus print Control. Spelling and grammar check Control plus Alt plus X button.
We also hear that spelling and grammar check is Control Alt X if we
Excellent.
want to do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to simply hit enter here and find out that my document is perfecto with
Okay,
no
we'll
mistakes
find out. We'll
whatsoever.
find out.
Spelling and grammar check dialog. Document looks good. Spelling and grammar document
Now,
looks good.
let's change that though.
Frame.
Put a tab to the close
First
button
line
here.
indented.
Oh, that's weird.
First line name. Call
Okay,
blank.
got rid of it for us.
Name.
All right, let's put a mistake
Email,
in.
phone,
though. So I'm just
41
gonna
address,
down arrow
blank.
here.
The Technology and Education Center connects people with.
And let's
Education Center
change-
connects. N
Yeah, we'll put that.
connects people with vision.
Vision.
I S
We'll put two S's
loss 2 possibilities. O S S I B I L I.
and we'll spell that wrong. Okay, so now we got
Heading-
3 spelling mistakes. So we know we can use our insert F8 to jump up to the toolbar and find spell check. We know we can do our Alt// type in spell, most likely find it. But let's look at one last way to do it. And then this is, again, not specific to just spell check. The last task that Luke just gave me, the formatting task, we could have done this last way to do this as well. And that's by going into those menus across the top. Now, most likely, if we're looking for spell check, I'm going to guess that it's in the tools menu. That kind of makes the most sense.
Yeah.
In order to access that menu, we can either do an Alt F to jump up to those menus and then right arrow over to tools, or we can simply do an Alt T to go right into our tools menu.
Alt T. Document read only application
Now
control.
we'll down arrow and find spell.
Spelling and grammar S black right pointing pointer submenu.
There it is. We'll do it. Now we heard it was a sub menu. Let's hit enter and see, or right arrow. Let's see what's in there.
Enter. Spelling and grammar check S Control plus Alt plus X.
There's our spelling and grammar check. And again, gives us the keyboard shortcut.
Show spelling suggestions H checked.
We do want that check to give us spelling suggestions. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's while you're typing, not during actual spell check. So as you're typing, if you want it to kind of autocorrect.
I will say
or
that
do a-
visually, just like with Word, there's a squiggly red line underneath words. that
Show
are
grammar
spelled
suggestions
incorrectly,
G checked.
so-
And we also have grammar,
Personal dictionary C.
and we have our personal dictionary if we want to add words. But let's go back up to our spell check.
Show
here.
spelling suggest. Spelling and grammar check S.
We'll hit enter. Now we know there are a couple misspellings.
Enter. Leaving menus. Spelling and grammar check dialog. Spelling and grammar check. Change connects to. Suggestions. Connects button.
So here's, it said change connects to, and then said connect button. Now, one of the things that I have not been a big fan of, and I'm hoping maybe someone in our chat can tell us, is It doesn't read, it doesn't automatically spell both the incorrect spelling, which can sometimes be nice to know, oh, I meant to type this. And it doesn't automatically spell the spelling of the suggested option, which if you use JAWS or NVDA and Word, it does read those automatically for you. So right now, I don't know. It said
Ignore button. Change connects to suggestions. Connects button.
It said connects button. Now I'm pretty sure that's it. But you know, if I'm spell checking, I sort of want to double check. Now, I could try my insert 8, which will read the line I'm on. And if I do it twice quickly with insert 8 on the number pad, that will spell out, but it's going to spell everything, everything JAWS just said. The other way that I have found to do it, and again, throw it in the chat if you've got a better way, is to enable that JAWS cursor. So we talked about PC cursor and virtual PC cursor. The last cursor we didn't talk about was the JAWS cursor. The JAWS cursor allows you to move around the document or move around the window, looking at things that either the PC cursor and the virtual PC cursor typically don't have access to, or it also allows you to move around and look at things without actually moving where you are in that document. So if I turn on my JAWS cursor here, I should be able to maybe down arrow.
Outline. Connects.
Okay, there's that word that it was changing it to connect. So if I just use my normal text navigation with my arrows here.
C-O-N-N-E-C-T-S.
Okay, I can see that it is the correct word.
That's kind of complicated, though.
It is, but I do want people to know, and I wanted to bring it up in case somebody knows a much better way of doing it. So we do want this, so we're going to go ahead and hit space on the connects button.
Space. Change vision to suggestions. Vision button.
Again, doesn't spell it, but we're going to guess it's vision because it does sound like it's correct. Now, before I just choose vision here, I do want to show you the other options in this spell check dialog box. And just like any other dialog box, we use our tab key to move around. By default, it drops us on the first suggestion, but let's keep tabbing.
Ignore button.
We have an ignore, so in case it's correct, but it's flagging it as wrong, we can ignore.
Accept button.
We can accept it, which is the same as just hitting space on the correct one.
More options button menu.
We have a more options menu.
Previous suggestion button. From Melanie Bauer to everyone. To toggle between headings in the outline, you would hit Control plus Alt plus N. Then
there you go. Okay. Melody just gave us some good info. We'll come back to
next
that.
suggestion button.
We have our previous and next
Stephen C.
suggestion.
Byrne.
So if the suggestion it gave wasn't the correct one, if vision wasn't what we wanted, we could go to the next suggestion or previous to go
Close
back.
button.
And then under the more actions, which I didn't mention, there should also be an add to dictionary. So for example, if it always triggers misspelling your name or something like
Spelling
that.
and grammar check. Spelling and grammar check dialog. Spelling and grammar. Ignore button. Change vision to.
Vision, that's
space.
right.
Change possibilities to. Suggestions. Possibilities button.
Yep, that's right.
Space. Document looks good.
And
Spelling and close button.
And we'll tab
space.
close.
Frame.
Lovely.
Yep. So spell checker, 3 different ways we can access it. And then we just use our tab key like any other dialog box to move through and spell check a document.
Melanie, thank you for your message here. So Melanie says to toggle between headings, which, if we've created a document with headings, we would like an easy way to jump between those headings.
For
And you had been talking about that before, Cory. So Melanie says we can do a Control-Alt-N and then Control-Alt-H to move to the next item or heading.
Control-Alt-N.
Alt-Control-N.
And then what was it?
Control-Alt-H.
Alt-Control-H.
Oh, that just turned on. Control. So that's funny. For me, Control-Alt-N turned on NVDA because that's what the keyboard shortcut
I thought
was.
that Control-Alt-N was a bit weird. So
Context menu. Leaving menu. Enter. In focus sample Google Docs, Google Chrome.
Let's try that.
Vision forward. Vision lost to
I thought I tried. Oh, no, I did a Control-Shift-H.
I think the Control-Alt-N was for next and then
Alt-Control-H. Braille support disabled.
Hey, look at that. We just found. There is a keyboard command for Braille display. Yeah.
Disabled and enabled.
Control-Alt-H is in hotel.
Alt-Control-H. Document content edit. Braille support enabled.
Does enable and disable Braille support.
So you will, if it's your first time using Google Docs, you will benefit from knowing Control-Alt and H for hotel, but we still have not managed to navigate to
the Technology and Education Center connects people with.
So that's a little bit
odd
there.
We'll come back. Not a big deal.
Yes.
All right, hit me with another task.
Okay, we're running out of time here. I have one more task. I would like you to insert an image below where it says Vision Forward Association.
Okay, I'll do that, and then we're going to quickly show how to start new document stuff.
Vision lost to possibility.
So let's jump up to
heading
the
level
top,
2 vision forward blank.
come down below it. Now we're going to want to insert an image. So I'm going to jump to our insert menu with Alt I as in indigo.
Alt A. Document read-only application control. Menu.
And I'm going
Insert.
to down arrow to picture.
Image I black right pointing
Image.
pointer submenu. Enter. Upload from computer U.
And I want to upload it from my
Enter.
computer. So this
Leaving
should
menus.
open up
Open
as a
dialog.
standard
File name.
open dialog box. If you use a computer, you're familiar with this, the open and the save. I'm going to shift tab over to my tree view and make sure I jump into my pictures.
Items view. Tree view closed. 2. Pictures. Closed.
And I'm
6
in
of
it
12.
already. Good. So I'm going to tab back over here
Items
to my
view
list
multi-select
of
list.
pictures.
005.jpg.
Yeah, we'll choose
0.
That one.
This one. That
Enter.
sounds good. We'll
In
hit
focus
enter on
alert.
that.
Creating images. Image
That's
inserted.
okay.
Hey. Now,
And
the only
it's
thing we
assigned-
haven't figured out yet is how to
Name,
create alt
Cory
text for the
blank.
image.
Yeah. So
Graphic.
So it says graphic there, but yeah, I'm not sure yet how to do an alt tag. I'm assuming you can alt
You would
text,
have
but
thought
not
so.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's do something real quick here. So we've been working in a document, but let's say we want to open a different document. So what we're going to do is we could either go to our file menu with Alt F, down arrow to open, or we can do Control O.
Control O. Open a file dialog. Frame.
Now,
Cancel button.
by
Files and
default,
folders grid view.
It's going to be showing us our Google Drive.
Hold on a second. We need the phonetic for Control O.
Yes, thank you.
Orange.
Control Oscar.
Thank you.
So Control Oscar or Control O brings up our open dialog box, and it automatically is showing us our Google Drive menu because that's, again, where all of our files are stored.
Caddis resource.
I'm gonna
AAA
do,
where Google
we're gonna
Drive
just go
folder.
right
1 of
here
50.
in this
Enter. Switch to folder
so
my
I'll
drive
hit
button.
enter, and now I can use my up, down, left, right arrow keys to find a document.
Test the night before Google
Let's
Docs.
try this
2 of
test
3.
the night before. We'll
Enter.
hit enter
Frame.
on that.
Document read-only application
and now
control.
we've got our document
Frame.
open here,
Document-
and we can simply use our arrow keys.
Document
to
content edit.
move through. Oh, it's empty. There's nothing in there. It's
Blank.
completely empty.
It is, but
Braille
it
support
doesn't
enabled on
mean
page
red.
1. Here is
there's-
another sample
there it
document.
is. Now it
Hey,
it
there
took
we
a
go.
second to
There we
load.
go. That's weird.
Let me try
Here is
again.
another sample
There we go.
document that I did not create the night before our presentation. Luke and I are always well organized and prepared for all of our sessions.
There you go.
Blank.
So we can quickly open and move around through documents. One thing we didn't mention, control, copy, cut, paste. If you're familiar with doing it in Word, it's going to be the exact same process. Select text with Shift, Control C, copy, Control X, cut, Control V, paste. Now, one last thing real quick.
Yes.
Creating a new blank document. We're going to go to Alt F to our
Alt
file
F.
menu.
Document read-only application control.
For Frankie
Thank you.
or Foxtrot or Fist or, okay, here we go.
Share S.
And we're going to come down to new.
New and black.
Now, one thing,
Share S.
here is a share option here. We talked about collaborating.
Yes.
If I hit enter on share here, I'd be able to type in email addresses of people that I would like to give access to this
And
document.
you can, I think you can select whether they are able to edit the document or just view the
View
document.
only.
and
You
things
got
like
it.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
New
Well,
and
we're
black
gonna
right
do
pointing
new.
pointer
We see
submenu.
it's a submenu. We'll
Enter.
go in there.
Document D.
enter. And we see we have a first option right here is document. We'll hit
Enter.
enter.
Leaving menus. Untitled document
And
Google
now
Docs.
I've got a nice blank untitled document.
Document content edit.
But we want to give this a name because otherwise you're going to
Braille support
constantly
enabled. Type it.
have
Untitled.
untitled
Yes.
everywhere. So we can do this in a couple ways. First, we could go to the Alt F file menu, arrow down to rename. We could use the insert F8 to go up to our toolbar, or we can do our Alt / and use our little trick. And we're going to do that real quick. So I'll just do Alt /
document read
type rename.
rename.
There it is.
Enter.
Enter.
Leaving menus. Untitled document.
And we
rename.
want to get
Blank
rid of
T.
this here.
Untitled
So let's get rid of this, and we're going to call this test.
Test
2.
2. Enter.
Hey.
Located in my
All right.
drive Google Drive
Now,
folder.
one thing I didn't mention when I talked about the insert F8 for NVDA users, insert F8 is JAWS specific, but if you want to access those that toolbar, or if insert F8 doesn't work with you for JAWS, the way that you access the toolbar is in Alt F to the menus,
Alt F. Document read only.
and then use your tab key.
Leaving menus. Menu bar banner region. Last edit was seconds. Main toolbar. Undo Control plus Z button.
And there's your
There we go.
toolbar. Now here though, unlike insert F8, with JAWS, when you do an insert F8, it grabs the toolbar and puts it in a nice vertical. If I tab to it here, up and down does nothing. So instead,
Redo
you
control. Print
use
control.
your right and
Spelling and
left arrow
paint format
keys
button.
instead.
Zoom. Paint form. Spelling and grammar check.
That's how
Hit
you can
escape.
do it if you
Hit
are
escape.
a NVDA user.
That was a real whirlwind tour of Google
It
Docs.
really was.
Yeah.
What did we miss?
Nothing. Well, everything, but
Okay,
nothing.
good.
But what I would like to do here quickly before
Yeah.
we end is just kind of do a quick recap here. So essentially, there's a few different things to remember. Number one, a lot of the text formatting shortcuts that you know already from other programs work in Google Docs, although we
Stop
did
share
see
alt
some of them are modified. For example, the centering, we had to add a shift to our usual Control E to make it Control Shift E. So sometimes if you try a shortcut, it may get you into trouble. However, for the most part, a lot of those shortcuts work. So that's number one.
And just as if we would have used our Alt/ and type center, we would have heard that it was.
We would have heard the shortcut.
Control, yeah, exactly.
So there's another takeaway.
Yeah.
Alt/ is a very effective way of finding any function and applying it without having to know where it is or really needing to have much in terms of navigation skills. We did bolding, we did underlining, we did centering and all sorts of things with our Alt/. So as long as you know the name of the thing that you want to do, you can find it very easily with your Alt/. And also, when you find it, so let's say we type in bold, it will allow you then to press space or enter to apply that, but also it will tell you the shortcut. So it's a great way of learning some of those keyboard shortcuts as well. So that's another takeaway here. And the other takeaway is you can also access different formatting options and basically all of the different options by going up to the menus at the top. So for example, to get to our file menu, we can do an Alt-F, Alt Foxtrot. That will take us up to the file menu. And from there, we can use our right and left arrow keys to listen to the different menus, use our down arrow key to access a menu and, you know, look for whatever we're trying to do in there. So different ways of doing things, all of them are effective. And it's really a case of playing around with those and, you know, just figuring out what works.
One thing too, I wanted to mention, somebody put a great chat in and I wanted to expand on it really quickly. You absolutely can open up Word docs, DOCX files into Google Docs and work on them. So if someone sends you a Word doc, no problem. Also, if you are a Google Docs user, but somebody is requesting a Word doc, maybe if you're sending a resume or something, usually it's most of the time people kind of want PDF or Word doc. In the docs menu, if you go to Alt-F for file, down arrow to download, the first option in there is download as Microsoft Word DOCX file. So you can actually download a docs file of the Google Doc that you were creating.
And it should keep all the formatting and things like that. And remember, if you're creating a document, then you do want to try and make it accessible. So remember to use your headings as appropriate. And that will allow people using a screen reader, including yourself maybe, to get around them more easily.
And we also didn't show saving because you don't need to save.
Right.
Google Docs is constantly saving because it's online based, cloud based. You don't have to save.
Nope.
It's always being saved.
I do like that feature, I have to say. All right, now we do have a resource on this because we are all about the resources this year. And so if you visit vision-forward.org/Tech Talk Live, then on that page, there will be a link to resources. And one of those, and in fact, I think those resources.
What's that?
I was thinking, I think those resources are actually being hosted on Google Drive. So who would have thought?
Look at that.
But so there's a resource for today, and it's a document which hopefully is properly formatted for screen reader users to navigate around, and that will basically, cover the things that we've been looking at today. But also, if you did get confused at any point, or if we were going too quickly, or you forget a shortcut or whatever, you can of course reach out to us. So I'm going to type our email address in here. So what is our email address? I forget for this.
That is
infocus@vision-forward.
Yes.
Infocus at
That's
Vision.
Indigo November Fox. Doug, I'm giving you a hard time.
infocus@vision-forward.org. Feel free to send us an email, and we'd be happy to, answer any questions that you might have. I do realize we have to move fairly quickly today,
This is why we ended up not doing sheets.
Yeah, we never would have got to sheets. We didn't even get through all of docs really. But anyway, hopefully that information was useful and somewhat enjoyable. Now I did pull up our schedule, and next,
I was just doing it too.
Oh yeah, I got it. So in 2 weeks' time, we are going to be joined by Ron Miller to talk about the L Braille and the Focus Braille displays. So if you are interested in those, then please do join us in 2 weeks' time. And luckily for us, Ron is the expert on those, so you won't have to listen to us rambling away.
No.
He's going to give us all of the pertinent information. So that'll be 2 weeks' time, of course, 11 a.m. Central, and at the same Zoom link. And we do have a YouTube channel. If you would care to visit there, we would love to see you. The YouTube is youtube.com/infocustechnology. And we will have this video up there shortly, as well as a number of other videos, both Tech Talk live recordings and otherwise produced videos. If you haven't seen the Tech Talk, the two-part Tech Talk live on accessible homes, I suggest that one because it's kind of fun. We did a session here where Cory was looking at some of the different accessible the smart home devices. And then the session following that, we actually were at Cory's house, and he was giving us a tour of his smart home and how he'd got that set up. So then
we had a standalone video of how to then create those routines, those automations. Right. So there's almost 3 there for you to spend your weekend with us.
Yeah, there you go. It sounds like a great weekend.
Sure does. So, email us if you'd like. We'll give you some jokes too.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it very much, and we do look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another Tech Talk Live. If you enjoyed Cory and Luke's antics, join us again in 2 weeks. To register, visit vision-forward.org/Tech Talk Live.